This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
I want to say I love the governor to death, but I've taken some slings and arrows over the last couple months.
House Speaker Richard Corcoran only hinting at the feud between himself and Governor Rick Scott this session. The governor spent part of the session on a tour advocating for funding to Enterprise Florida and Visit Florida, while both were severely slashed in the state budget. We still don't know what the final budget will look like. It is only the tip of the iceberg in what has been a divisive session in Tallahassee. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have our analysis of the legislative session coming up, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight in Venice, where investigators confirm 2 people are dead after their minivan went off the South Jetty and into the Gulf. For more, let's go live to ABC7's Christopher Brantley, who joins us from the scene. Christopher.
Good evening, Alan, from the Venice Jetty, where we've been reporting all evening long. A van, now confirmed to be a white minivan, crashed over the jetties into the basically the mouth of the Gulf of Mexico and began traveling down, floating down towards the mouth of the Gulf of Mexico. The vehicle was only halfway submerged for most of its floating down the water. There were several witnesses here who told us, among other things, that they did see 2 people inside. And at this point, we have received a confirmation from the chief of Venice Police that there were 2 people inside and that both of these people are believed to be deceased at this point in time. Now, just a short time ago, the city did announce that they did locate that vehicle. They had been searching for it for a long time. They had called it a search and rescue. They now are calling it a recovery mission, but they have located that vehicle. We can't absolutely confirm at this moment where that vehicle was located, but we do believe it was just a short distance from here, right by the mouth of the Gulf of Mexico. It's resting at a depth of about 15 feet. Again, this was a white minivan. Confirmed 2 people on board. 2 people have been are deceased at this time. There are many officials out here, including the Venice Fire Department, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, the Venice Police Department. They are all out here waiting for the tide to lower so that they can pull that vehicle from the water. That's what we have at this point. For now, I'm Christopher Brantley, ABC 7 News, live at the Venice Jetty.
Now to Manatee County, where a high-profile triple murder case is finally going to court after nearly 3 years of back-and-forth. Jury selection is now underway in the Andy Avalos triple murder death penalty case. Andre Avalos is facing the 3 counts of first-degree murder for allegedly killing his wife Amber, his neighbor Denise Potter, and Reverend James Tripp Battle. Jury selection is expected to continue through Thursday. A man is dead, a woman is hospitalized, and sheriff's deputies are trying to figure out what happened just off Casperson Beach. Rescue crews responding to calls about a boat in distress pulled the man and woman who were clinging to a raft out in the water about a half-mile offshore. He was dead, cause unknown. The woman was taken to the hospital. Tomorrow is election day for voters in Northport as they decide who will fill the vacant seat on the city commission. It opened after Commissioner Jacqueline Moore resigned to launch an unsuccessful run for mayor. Now, Jill Luke and Pete Emmerich are hoping to fill the seat. Luke has worked in business management for 2 decades, while Emmerich is a former landscape manager for the city.
I've helped create budgets throughout the years. I know what they put in on the budgets, and I know what sometimes really isn't necessary on the budget.
You have to build a relationship with other entities. It could be developers, it could be business owners, could be entrepreneurs.
Sarasota voters will also decide on 2 at-large seats on their city commission. Polls are open from 7 in the morning until 7 in the evening. We'll have live coverage coming up tomorrow on ABC 7 at 7. After a month of administrative leave, Sarasota's parking director, Mark Lyons, is returning to work. Lyons is being demoted from general manager to manager and will have to undergo ethics training. This comes after he recommended his son-in-law to create artwork for the State Street garage without disclosing their relationship. 2 other employees in the planning department were also demoted following the investigation. They have 10 days to appeal the disciplinary action. Lyons is barred from helping commission clients for 6 months. Happening now, representatives from Sarasota Memorial Hospital are meeting with Newtown residents to answer questions about the new clinic opening in the community. Construction is underway with a grand opening scheduled for July. It is expected the clinic will serve 1,800 patients in its first year with primary and preventative care for adults. We'll have full coverage of the meeting coming up tonight at 11. And new developments on the settlement money from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Manatee County is receiving $6.3 million from BP. The county is asking for public input on how to spend it. The plan right now is to direct it towards environmental and tourism initiatives, including expanding Robinson Preserve, hiring more environmental restoration staff, improving the coastal watershed program, and expanding the Florida Maritime Museum and contributing to the Gulf Shellfish Institute. County commissioners will consider a spending plan this summer. And now for a check on our weather, we go to Bob.
Well, after a windy weekend, things have calmed down, Alan. We have had a beautiful day today. Temperatures still warmed above average, but this morning was cool in a below average situation with temperatures down into the low 60s. And currently it's 79, fair skies, dew point 64. That number's come up. Winds out of the northwest at 14, and the pressure is falling ever so slightly now, 2998. We expect high pressure to dominate our weather over the upcoming days. Winds still out of the west to northwest, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour. Siesta Key now 14 out of the west northwest. 1 degree higher in Inglewood and Minnesota Beach and Venice at 15 miles an hour. Look at all the dry air that is just moving down on into the state. Now that's again a result of a large area of high pressure. This dry air will stick around, and that means the high fire danger will stay with us through this week. No real threat of any significant rainfall, and temperature at 70 degrees by 11 o'clock tonight under generally fair skies. And we are anticipating, looks like a nice work week ahead. Temperature statewide generally a little bit warmer still inland. Orlando at 86, 82 in Miami. We'll have more in the forecast, Alan. Let you know about our next rain chances. Don't come for a while, but we'll have them in just a little bit.
Boy, we need it.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, friction and failures as Florida's legislative session comes to a close. We'll look into what measures lawmakers were able to agree on and where they failed to reach consensus. We'll have the details when we return.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. We're getting so wet.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right, we will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering bring it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call for your free author submission kit at 800-425-5308.
Well, it's almost over, but they'll be pointing fingers for a long time. Florida's legislative session is coming to an end. You'd think with a Republican governor and huge Republican majorities in the House and Senate, there'd be a unity when it comes to strategy and policy, but not so much. Kate Flexter joins us with more. Kate.
Thanks, Alan. Lawmakers appear on the verge of approving an $83 billion budget. Here's a look at some of the top issues with local impact.
As quickly as it began, Florida's 2017 legislative session is over, with some major losses and some wins. The session began with tension, namely between Governor Rick Scott and House Speaker Richard Corcoran, when Corcoran looked to cut funding for the economic and tourism development agencies Enterprise Florida and Visit Florida.
I want to say I love the governor to death, but I've taken some slings and arrows over the last couple months.
People are just shocked that the House would even think about reducing marketing in the state for tourists.
And Corcoran was successful. This year's budget eliminates most funding for Enterprise Florida and drastically cuts the budget for Visit Florida. But that may not be the end of it. Governor Scott still has the power to veto the budget, which would force the legislature to start from scratch. For gun rights supporters, the session came with several losses. Sarasota Senator Greg Stubbe advocated for a series of controversial gun bills.
It's very important to me that people have the ability to defend themselves, and that's why I keep pushing bills like this.
One proposed allowing handguns to be carried openly. Another proposed allowing concealed weapons permit holders to be armed at legislative meetings, airport passenger terminals, and college and university campuses, among other locations.
There's no evidence to even suggest that the more guns we put in these areas is going to reduce gun violence or violence in itself. There's absolutely none.
In the end, none of the bills garnered much support. But there was one win for gun rights supporters, a bill that shifts the burden of proof in stand-your-ground pretrial hearings to prosecutors instead of the defendants. While legislators came close to an agreement, a bill to expand gambling in Florida once again failed. The bill would have allowed racetracks to end the controversial horse and dog racing and operate solely as casinos while expanding gambling to include craps and roulette.
A lot of it falls on us to make sure that we have things cleaned up.
Lawmakers also took on the state's heroin epidemic, imposing stiffer penalties for possession of a drug called fentanyl. Drug dealers whose customers overdose on the powerful painkiller will now be charged with murder. This comes after Governor Rick Scott declared Florida's opioid epidemic a public health emergency. According to the Florida Medical Examiners Commission, fentanyl caused 704 deaths across the state in the first half of last year. After 71% of Floridians voted to legalize marijuana for medical use, the state legislature spent a large part of the session deciding how to implement the program, discussing everything from how a patient can consume the drug to how many businesses can grow and sell it. The House and Senate proposed two similar bills with a few fundamental differences, and in the end could not compromise. A lack of action opens the door for patients to now sue state lawmakers.
We need to go forward and not backward. We don't need to rein it in. We need to expand and grow.
As you just heard, Governor Rick Scott still has the power to veto the budget, so this may not be the end of the debate.
Kate, thank you. Coming up, freshman Representative Joe Gruder, just back from his first session, a top political reporter who was there, and a member of the Sarasota School Board on what the budget means to our kids. In a moment, we will take it to the trapezoid.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV?
The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-809-5196 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-809-5196. This offer's not in any store. Call now.
There's a whole new way to bank at Achieva Credit Union with Achieva Checking Plus. Get new, unique features like full ID theft protection and online shopping rewards. Plus, it's an interest-bearing account, so you have a little extra for what really matters. Achieva Checking Plus isn't just an account for your money, it's for your life, including cell phone insurance. And that's good to know. Discover the plus at achievacu.com. Achieva, banking for good. Achieva Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Welcome back. So who is running the show in Tallahassee? That's a serious question because Governor Rick Scott's top priorities took huge hits, specifically Enterprise Florida and Visit Florida. The business and tourism marketing agencies were gutted. So were other priorities like spending on higher education and the $200 million repair to the Herbert Hoover Dike. Meanwhile, House Speaker Richard Corcoran was described today by FloridaPolitics.com as the master of the House. He pushed through many of his spending priorities, including $140 million for failing schools, bonuses for teachers, and support for charter schools. The last big question is the state budget. We still don't have one. There is an $82.4 billion spending plan negotiated in secret. Lawmakers are expected to pass it. The question is whether Governor Rick Scott will sign it. And joining us for more on the end of the session is Shirley Brown, a member of the Sarasota County School Board, Representative Joe Gruters of Sarasota, and Zach Anderson, politics editor for the Herald Tribune. Thank you all for being here. And Joe, I guess the first question is, are you going to vote for that budget? Break some news.
It is a tough budget, but you know, I may end up voting the same way I did at the beginning of the session. That's with the governor, and that's probably against the budget. And the reason why I probably will end up voting that way when that comes up either later tonight or tomorrow is the fact that it guts Enterprise Florida and Visit Florida funding. And at the end of the day, it's all about jobs and where do we want to take our state, and do we want to give the opportunities to Florida families moving forward. And I think that we have to use every tool that's available. Sunshine and low taxes isn't enough. You know, think about how our economy is dominated by tourism. You don't see products like Coke and Chick-fil-A stop marketing. We got to continue the focus, spend the money, and we got to create more jobs.
Out for just a moment. You vote no, but as we've been reporting, it appears that the budget will pass, but then the governor can veto it, and you're going to be right back at it over the summer, I would imagine.
Well, at the end of the day, like I said, I believe the governor has it right. He's been laser focused on jobs. It's jobs, jobs, jobs. It's what can we do to help Florida families get ahead and get higher paying jobs. And I think what we have to do is continue to create opportunities where we could bring in specific target industries, where we could help out existing Florida companies, where we can continue to grow the space industry and some of these other areas. You know, we've seen huge benefits here. Just look at Failed Entertainment in Palmetto, where they've created, I think, over 425 jobs, paying all over $85,000 a year. Economic development is a win for everyone. And that's why, at the end of the day, that's why I probably will vote against the budget. But that's why I think the governor has every right to veto this, because we have to focus on what's important for all Floridians.
But, Zach, obviously Speaker Corcoran thinks otherwise. He thinks it's corporate welfare, picking winners or losers. Explain this to me. You have a Republican governor, a Republican Senate and House. Why, year after year, is there so much infighting and dissension?
Well, obviously, just because you have total control of state government doesn't mean that there's total agreement on all of these ideological issues. You saw it with Donald Trump, where he ran against the Republican establishment, and he really called out corporate welfare, crony capitalism. This is an issue that really crosses party lines, and Speaker Corcoran has really latched onto it, and he's gone after incentives with a vengeance. And the governor has really billed himself as the jobs governor, and this is really central to his identity. The fact that Corcoran is not giving him any money for incentives has really incensed the governor, and he's come, and it's remarkable to see him campaigning against local Republican lawmakers. He comes to Sarasota and he calls out local Republicans like Jim Boyd and Julio Gonzalez, who are pretty loyal conservative Republicans, for not approving these economic incentives. So it's a fascinating debate within the Republican Party.
But it's interesting to me that he says it's corporate welfare when, in fact, he's supporting corporate welfare, but it's for corporate charter schools and corporate private schools. There was a definite a clash between supporting businesses and supporting these private schools and the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship. Legislators promised they would be addressing the sales tax on corporate leases. We're the only state that taxes corporate leases, but that is the funding source for the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship.
Shirley,
and they won't give that a credit. They reduced it 2%, but they're putting it back up because the money pays for their corporate scholarships.
We have just about 30 seconds left here, but Shirley, what do you see in terms of the education funding?
Well, they gave $1,200 per student increase for the corporate scholarships. They cut $27 per student on the base student allocation for public schools.
All right, we will pick it up, but we have to take a break. We are just getting started on this conversation, and we will continue right after we check on our weather.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
You only have one life. Are you gambling with it? 1 in 3 adults have high blood pressure. Not knowing your numbers could cause you to lose, big time. Luckily, you can turn the odds in your favor by getting your blood pressure checked today. Don't leave your health to chance. Learn more at heart.org/HPB.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Our discussion of Florida's legislative session continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Alan. A beautiful day today out on the area beaches. Lots of sunshine out there. Load up with the sunscreen if you're heading out there again tomorrow. We're looking at high pressure dominating. The winds and seas calm too after a weekend of wind Things have really turned a little bit more milder on this Monday and a little bit warmer this afternoon. Temperatures back above average, at least this afternoon. Weather headlines read like this: warming up for the rest of the work week. It will stay dry. Unfortunately, we could use that rainfall. It's not going to happen, and it may happen a little bit on the weekend, however, as a weak frontal system moves down on Saturday and Sunday. With it right now, temperature is 79 degrees at the Sarasota-Bradian Airport. And as far as the dew point goes, that's up there a little bit more now, 64 degrees. And what that means, there's a little bit more moisture in the atmosphere. Winds are out of the northwest at 14, the pressure 2997, and that is falling ever so slightly, but we're still under the influence of a large area of high pressure. The high today was a warm one, 86, a couple degrees above average. This morning's low was comfortable at 60 degrees. The record low 47 set back in 1921. No rainfall to report. Our deficit now at nearly 9 inches for the year. Well, the forecast for Tuesday calling for lots of sunshine around and a little bit warmer each day. 88 degrees the expected high tomorrow. With a little bit of a sea breeze developing in the afternoon. You'll see that sea breeze develop. Tonight, the winds will switch around to a north-northeasterly direction just for a brief period of time. And then tomorrow, they'll be back with a westerly direction. That will keep things a little bit cooler along the coastline, inland areas like Wauchula and Arcadia, as well as into Highlands County. They'll all see highs in the low 90s there. High pressure is going to slowly work its way off toward the east over the upcoming days, eventually situated just to the east of the state, and that will block from any weather storm systems entering into the picture through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But by Friday, it breaks down a little bit and does allow for a weak frontal system to move in and brings a chance for a few showers. You see all that rain and cloudiness kind of working around the periphery of that area of high pressure, which will slowly sink across much of Florida. Well, the national satellite showing clouds and showers over Colorado. Very warm day in Omaha, warmer there than it was here in a cool day over the Northeast. You can see that with current temperatures, 82 in Kansas City right now, 50 in Chicago, though. You can see those winds coming out of the north, Cleveland at 54, and the nation's capital at 63 degrees. For boaters, it shapes up like this. Northwest winds at 5 to 10 knots. We'll have a light chop out there. Seas running right around 2 feet, so calm boating conditions throughout most of this week. Water temperature has cooled a few degrees due to the recent cold snap we had over the weekend, and 84 for area beaches for highs tomorrow. Boating, the next low tide will be at 7. We just had it. Next low tide will be at 6:34. And the forecast tonight, clear skies, mild conditions, 65 for your low, and light winds switching to the north later on. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny, warm and dry with a high of 89 degrees. The extended forecast calling for mid to upper 80s through the work week. The front moves in on Saturday. It doesn't really cool us down, brings us some clouds and a chance for showers and a bit of a breeze on Saturday. Alan will be back with a panel right after this. Stick around.
There's a whole new way to bank with Achieva Checking Plus. You get new features like cell phone protection for 3 phones, plus an interest-bearing account. And that's good to know. Discover all the benefits at AchievaCU.com. Achieva, banking for good. Achieva Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, restaurant guide, and more. Go to mysuncoast.com/dining. ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular received a J.D. Power Award for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and switch now. For a limited time, get your first month of service free. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
There's a whole new way to bank with Achieva Checking Plus. You get new features like full ID theft protection, and that's good to know. Discover all the benefits at achievacu.com. Achieva, banking for good. Achieva Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the end of Florida's regular legislative session. Our guests tonight are Shirley Brown of the Sarasota County School Board, Representative Joe Gruters of Sarasota, and Zach Anderson of the Herald Tribune. I'm trying to get to a sense of the dysfunction. Florida voters vote by over 70% to legalize medical marijuana. You guys can't figure out the rules. Why?
Well, I'll tell you, I was one of 9 votes. I think one of 4 Republicans that voted no on the bill. I think where we went wrong was, listen, 71% of the voters in Florida voted for medical marijuana. I think they should flip the system. Right now, there's 7 licenses, and those licensee holders could all have unlimited distribution centers. Where I think we should flip it and basically say, listen, these are the requirements to grow it, to sell it, and let companies, as many companies as we can, in order to create a situation to where we could bring an affordable, safe product to the market for people who are suffering. This is not recreational drug use. This is for patients who are suffering, and I think that the Florida legislature dropped the ball. Now there's no laws. The Department of Health is going to create the bills, essentially bypassing what we're supposed to be doing.
What's the play here, Zach?
Well, I think the biggest issue is this is going to be a billion-dollar industry in Florida, and there was a lot of businesses that wanted to get involved in it. And so you had the Senate that was more open to expanding the market beyond these 7 growers who got a monopoly based on a low potency version of medical marijuana that passed in 2014. And the House wanted to continue that monopoly for those 7 growers and allow a few more businesses into it. But they thought limiting the number of growers would really increase accountability and make sure that they could really have a handle on it. And the Senate wanted to open it up and make it more free market, and so more businesses could get involved. And it was really kind of an industry food fight. Some people didn't think that the legislature really stood a chance of passing it, though, because in the end, lawmakers, it's controlled by Republicans. They're more conservative. They're worried about anything that they pass being seen as, tactically supporting marijuana. So some people think this was a hard lift from the beginning.
And there is a lot of money that flows in from Drug Free America.
Yeah,
organizations like that.
Well, think about this. These 7 golden ticket winners who have these licenses, one of them already sold out, I think, for 30 or 40 million. Why are we doing this to the people, to the voters who voted for this in Florida? Like I said, this is not for recreational drug use. This is for people who are suffering, dying of cancer, AIDS, all these things. Let's create an affordable product to meet the demand that's out there.
A couple of other issues. The Speaker blocks what he wants to block. He pushes forward what he wants to push forward. Education, the education conforming bill. The Schools of Hope, Shirley, which is very controversial. What are you and your colleagues reading into this bill and some of these issues that are being moved forward?
Well, that whole conforming bill, to have dropped a 249-page conforming bill at the last minute. In fact, my understanding is it's on a point of order and now up in the Senate. I'm not sure if they voted on it, but the bill, they didn't have the language. The people who were there to vote on it didn't have it. In fact, it wasn't available until like 3 hours after the vote. So you can ask for public comment on it, but if the public can't get a copy of what it is they're voting on, how can you comment? But the Schools of Hope was to allow these out-of-state companies to come in and say you've got a failing school in a neighborhood. Well, let's say if Emma Booker was failing. It's not. We don't have any failing schools in Sarasota, but a D is a failing school for them. But if Emma Booker gets a D,
2 years in a row.
I think it's 1 year now. They can come in, a company from out of state can come in and take over. They don't have to take over that school. They can build a school within 5 miles of that school and take in students and get extra funding.
And of course the concern is you're taking money away from the public schools.
$2,000.
The problem is that there are worthy things in that bill, like pay raises for teachers, but then you have those poison pills that people won't go for.
Well, the pay raise for teachers, $1,200 for a highly effective teacher, $800, well, it's up to, we'll see how much money they really put away, and up to $800 for an effective teacher. Well, that causes some infighting within, like the teachers versus the principal. Why didn't you give me an effective and, you know, all of that. But then to not give us that base student allocation where we need that money to operate. I mean, it doesn't cost us less money to operate this year than it did last year. But what about the teacher? What about the bus drivers, the lunch ladies, the janitors, everybody else in the schools? We don't have money to give them a raise.
There were some good things about this bill. I voted yes on this bill, and basically we were spending a record $24 billion in education this year. They're loosening some of the tests that you have to do to make sure that we put the focus on learning first. We're giving raises and bonuses to some teachers. And basically, this bill may not be perfect, but if you're for education moving the state forward, I think this is a good bill, and that's why I voted yes.
If you're opposed to charter schools, not so much, though. Let's get to
But there was $241 million for new funding.
And it's failure factories.
Let's get to something
that fail consistently.
Let's get to something a little less controversial. Guns. Our friend Senator Stubbe filed a whole bunch of gun bills. Only one really made it anywhere, and that is revising the stand your ground law.
And that wasn't a Stubbe bill. That was somebody else's bill, actually.
So every session, going to every session, we do all these stories about Senator Stubbe, open carry, college campuses, airports, and then it is fellow Republicans who kill the bill. Zach, what's the play up there?
Well, you know, the Senate has stopped a lot of these bills in the past, and that's because you have it's a lot more moderate. You have Republicans who are in districts that maybe Hillary Clinton won. They could be Democrat-leaning districts. And, you know, there's just more of a reservation to slow some of these bills down. Stubbe, when he got elected to the Senate, people thought maybe he's going to change that. He's going to go in there. He's chairing a committee that killed a lot of gun bills in the past, and he really campaigned on a conservative platform and said he was going to pass these bills. He filed 11 different gun bills. Only one of them actually got a hearing. A Republican lawmaker from Miami, where gun rights are not as popular, came out on the first day of session and said, I don't support any of your bills, and it basically killed them for the session.
And then one final bill was going to the House where you work, Joe, and it was going to be voted on without any kind of hearing, without many people even knowing what was in it, and it was the Speaker who decided not to bring it up for a vote.
Well, and that was a trade-off at the very end of the day, but really that was a good bill because that bill addresses an issue that's going on in Sarasota County right now. Right now, if you reading the papers, reading Zach's columns, you'll see that there's a dispute, basically a disagreement between our great sheriff, Tom Knight, who's one of the best sheriffs in the country, versus the judiciary here in town. The question is as a citizen, do you have the legal right to carry your guns on Sarasota County property? And it's my understanding that the question is you're not allowed to have a gun inside a courtroom. But what happens now is I believe that you're stopped at the entrance of the courthouse and you're supposed to check your gun in. And so this controversy that's been blowing up, we were trying to address that at the last second. My guess is that bill, I actually may file that bill to protect our sheriff and his rights, and so he could follow the law legally without any type of judiciary coming in and trying to change the rules.
We have less than a minute left. I wanted to get to USF. They're not getting millions of dollars that they thought they were going to get because of what they claim are games being played with the levels that they have to reach for preeminence. What went on there?
Well, basically what happened at the end of the day, the USF was really jerked around at the last second. You never know who is responsible, but obviously it's the people who are negotiating the deal at the end. But it's
who's responsible?
Everybody's responsible up there, including myself. You know, the problem is USF is getting the short end of the stick. It's a raw deal. They're changing the game. Basically, they said they scored a touchdown, and all of a sudden the referee comes out and says, no good, right? It's not a touchdown. The problem is we should stick with the rules that we have. You can't change the rules just because you don't like them. USF is getting the raw deal on about they're going to lose about $15 million worth of funding. It's unnecessary, it's unfortunate, and they should restore that funding.
One college that's really benefiting is New College here in Sarasota. They're getting an extra $7 million, which could be game-changing.
We have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about the week in Washington and the plan to replace Obamacare.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View. One of the top film schools in the country is right here on the Suncoast. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, we'll meet the award-winning head of Ringling's film department and hear how the college is teaming up with Hollywood Elite. Two top coaches from the elite world of competitive cheerleading join us and bring us their high-energy athletes. Plus, melanoma prevention and Origins Pizza joins us in the kitchen. Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-622-1941. 800-622-1941.
Welcome back. The regular session is just about over. Could there be a special session in the coming weeks? What could it mean for the state budget, medical marijuana, and other legislative priorities? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Shirley, when it comes to education, what's your takeaway?
Public schools got the short end. $240 million in new spending, but that covered 24,000 new students. Of the $62 million that was left, 56 of it goes to the changes they made to the FRS. That Sarasota County is going to have to pay almost $1 million extra in FRS of the $4 million in new funding we got for the 300 students. So public schools didn't get much. They tried to sweeten it with these. They're trying to take control of public schools through their special bills that they're putting through.
Joe, this was your maiden cruise up in Tallahassee. I mean, issue by issue, whether it's medical marijuana and the voters, the budget, the games that were playing between the speaker and the governor. I mean, are you willing to say this is pretty, how would you describe it?
Well, Governor Lawton Chiles said it best when he said there's three stools, there's three legs of a stool, and you can't ignore the governor, and at the end of the day everybody has to work together. I think we'd be much better off as a state, especially since we have control of all three branches of government, if all three branches work together in a way that we can move Florida forward. And for me, I always try to do the best job that I could do in the position that I have, whether it be chairman of the local party, state rep, chairman of Donald Trump's campaign. So what I promise my voters and the constituents that are listening out there today is you can count on me to do what I think is the best interest of Floridians and our constituents on every issue across the board, regardless of party, because, listen, I want to make this area the best possible place to live and work. That's why you voted for me, and that's what I'll continue to do as your state representative.
Zach, is this dysfunction that we're seeing here basically because the speaker wants to run for governor, the governor wants to run for senator, and they're trying to make each other look bad or make it themselves look good?
I think that's really what a lot of people think, is that there's a lot of political ambitions here that are getting in the way of some things, although you can't discount the fact that there's some deeply held ideological beliefs as well. The most unusual thing to me about this session is just how thoroughly Governor Rick Scott was ignored. You just don't see a chief executive in the nation's third largest state get really nothing that he asked for. No money for his economic incentives. The Visit Florida, the tourism promotion agency, slashed by down from $75 million to $25 million. He wanted $200 million for the Herbert Hoover Dike to shore up Lake Okeechobee. Didn't get any of that money. Didn't get barely a small fraction of his tax cuts. So really, the next big story here is what Rick Scott does and whether he vetoes this budget or really goes in and vetoes line item earmarks, and you have a lot of local projects that are hanging in the balance with that.
All right. Well, let's go someplace where there is no dysfunction. Washington. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you are saying about Friday's analysis of the week in Washington. The biggest story on Capitol Hill last week was the vote to repeal and replace Obamacare. The bill now goes to the Senate, where major changes are expected. Democrats are criticizing the partisan vote, saying Republicans rushed it before getting an impact analysis from the Congressional Budget Office. Here is what some of you are saying. Kevin Kumbanga writes, where were the hearings? Where was the CBO score? Where was the public input? Why wasn't the bill made public before they voted on it? Susie Goff writes, we sure didn't know anything about Obamacare now, did we? And Carrie Silverman writes, the Congressional Budget Office was not allowed to see the budget. In fact, most of Congress didn't see it before voting on it. If you say that was the same as the ACA, then you are sorely misinformed. Well, let us know what you think about Florida's legislative session. Join the conversation by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And want to watch past roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Shirley Brown is a member of the Sarasota County School Board. Joe Gruters represents Sarasota at the Florida State House, and Zach Anderson is the politics editor for the Herald Tribune. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, rescued from the jaws of an alligator. A young girl lost a lot of blood, but not her life. Find out how she was rescued and how often gators attack in our primetime headlines.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
There's a whole new way to bank at Achieva Credit Union with Achieva Checking Plus. Get new unique features like full ID theft protection and online shopping rewards. Plus, it's an interest-bearing account, so you have a little extra for what really matters. Achieva Checking Plus isn't just an account for your money, it's for your life, including cell phone insurance. And that's good to know. Discover the plus at achievacu.com. Achieva, banking for good. Achieva Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
The official salon of ABC7. Cutting Loose Salon.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, we had a panel discussion about the GOES satellite and earlier this year, and you can see what's happened. This is the imagery of it, and it's not available yet in mass quantities. This comes from their website, but boy, it is so detailed. They're going to learn so many different things about severe weather, hurricanes, as well as brush fire smoke. You see it right there, just fanning right over in northeast Florida from a big brush fire right there in Georgia, South southeast Georgia. That's the biggest one around. And the fire danger is still very high for us, and it's not going away anytime soon unless we get a tropical disturbance of some sort that isn't on the radar screen quite yet, but pops up and brings us maybe 3-5 inches of rainfall. But that ain't happening anytime soon. 621 in the number in Manatee County, 639 in Sarasota, and those numbers are in the moderate to high category for this time of year. The Van Wezel webcam showing clear skies tonight out over the Sarasota Bay, and it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous sunset here in just about 20 minutes or so, and looks as though we'll see generally fair skies right through the evening with temperatures falling down into the right around 70-degree mark by 11 o'clock. Sarasota right now 79, 76 in Bradenton, 77 in Venice, so a pleasant evening. And the high today was 86, a couple degrees above average, but the low this morning was nice at 60, and the deficit for rainfall continues to climb, nearing 9 inches for the year. The forecast overnight, clear skies. Temperatures down into the mid-60s, and then we'll warm up pretty quickly tomorrow. A little bit warmer for tomorrow, upper 80s, but the sea breeze will develop, and we'll see that breeze actually bring us some clear skies, but also some slightly cooler temperatures near the coastline. For boaters, beautiful out there. Moderate chop turns into a light chop for us on Tuesday, and low tide upcoming will be at 6:34 and a high tide at 12:57. Clear skies, mild tonight, mid-60s, northwest turn to the north at 5, and then tomorrow mostly sunny, warm and dry. Highs in the upper 80s. The extended forecast calling for a warm work week, and then a chance for some showers on Saturday and Sunday with increasing cloudiness. Primetime headlines with Alan will be on next. Stick around.
How long have we been married, dear?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills. Wow! Stop stains and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Now for your primetime headlines. For the first time since she was fired by President Trump, former acting Attorney General Sally Yates spoke publicly about the role she played in warning the Trump administration about former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and his contact with the Russian ambassador. ABC's Lana Zach has the latest from Washington.
What did you tell the White House about Mr. Flynn?
Sally Yates, the former acting Attorney General, told the Senate subcommittee investigating Russian interference in U.S. elections how she warned the White House counsel.
A number of press accounts of statements that have been made by the Vice President and other high-ranking White House officials
about General Flynn's conduct that we knew to be untrue.
Prior to being fired for her opposition to the president's travel ban, the acting attorney general had warned the Trump administration that their new national security advisor, Michael Flynn, was not being honest when he told Vice President Pence that he had no contact with Russian officials, which led to Flynn's firing.
In a situation where the national security advisor essentially could be blackmailed by the Russians.
But it was Ms. Yates who President Trump impugned on Twitter, writing, "Ask Sally Yates under oath if she knows how classified information got into the newspapers soon after she explained it to White House counsel." Also on Monday, it was revealed that during the transition, President Obama warned then-President-elect Trump not to hire General Flynn, a suggestion that White House spokesman Sean Spicer brushed off.
This is a guy who was very outspoken in his criticism of President Obama's policies. So the idea that President Obama, didn't like the guy doesn't seem shocking. The question you have to ask yourself is, if they were concerned, why didn't they take any steps?
Ms. Yates was also joined by the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. Both were asked if they had been the source of or had authorized any of those leaks of classified information, and both said under oath emphatically that they had not. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Republican members of Congress are facing backlash from constituents after narrowly passing their health care plan. Ads are already running in 15 congressional districts, emphasizing the first Congressional Budget Office estimate of the bill predicts 24 million Americans would lose coverage under the GOP plan. Political analysts expect Democrats to pick up seats in Congress based on anger over the Obamacare repeal.
When a party has unified control, that first midterm election has been a shellacking for them, especially when there's a vote on these third-rail issues.
The health care debate now heads to the Senate. After a series of stinging legal defeats, the White House is back in federal court defending its travel ban. The ban targets travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. A first and second version of the ban were both blocked by federal judges. Now a 13-member court is hearing the case. Whoever loses will likely appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Here in Florida, the Orlando state's attorney, who is challenging Governor Rick Scott's authority in the state Supreme Court, charges the governor flip-flopped on interfering with prosecutors' decisions to go after her. Earlier this year, Scott transferred nearly 24 cases from Ramos Ayala after she said her office wouldn't pursue the death penalty. In the court filing today, Ayala cites 4 letters in which citizens asked Governor Scott to intervene in cases, but said he couldn't because state attorneys are elected officials. The document suggesting Scott either lied to citizens or changed his views just for Ayala. A 10-year-old girl is recovering tonight after being attacked by an alligator in Orange County. The young girl was swimming in this lake over the weekend when a 9-foot gator bit her leg. She was able to escape and was pulled to safety by 2 lifeguards.
Got the child out of the water real quick, grabbed the child, notified everybody to get out of the water while the lifeguard was blowing the whistles, and it was just a joint effort by the patrons.
The gator was captured and euthanized. According to Florida Fish and Wildlife, there have been at least 64 alligator attacks since 2010. Only one of them was fatal. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.